Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán deployed military forces across the country, accusing Ukraine of blocking oil deliveries through the Druzhba pipeline. Ukraine and the European Union say the pipeline was knocked out by Russian drone strikes on January 27th. With elections 6 weeks away and Orbán trailing by 20 points, a minister in his own cabinet has called fears of a false flag operation legitimate. You are watching NowBurst. This story is moving fast, and here's what we know. On January 27th, Russian drones struck the Brody oil pumping station in Ukraine's Lviv region, severely damaging high-pressure pumps and control systems. A storage tank fire burned for 10 days. Ukraine told the European Commission that full responsibility lies with Russia. Orbán, in a video posted to social media, said the shutdown has political rather than technical causes. He did not mention the Russian strike. That framing drove what came next. On February 27th, Orbán announced a troop deployment to protect critical energy infrastructure inside Hungary. He then published an open letter to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, accusing him of coordinating with Brussels and the Hungarian opposition to install a pro-Ukraine government in Budapest. He demanded Zelensky immediately reopen the pipeline. The government issued a decree ordering 3 months of coordinated defense activity nationwide. The letter directly tied the pipeline dispute to the election campaign and the opposition, and it blurred any line between the deployment and domestic politics. 2 days before that troop announcement, a Median poll published by Reuters showed Orbán's Fidesz party trailing the opposition TISA party 55-35 among decided voters. That 20-point gap had widened from 12 points in mid-January. The election is April 12th. TISA leader Peter Magyar accused Orbán of preparing a false flag. At a rally in Veszprém, he said, "Comrade Prime Minister, we know what a false flag is. Do not do this, because it is a very serious crime." He called on Orbán to accept defeat with dignity if he loses. But Magyar was not the only one raising the alarm. Gergely Gulyas, the minister who heads Orbán's own office, told the Times of London, "We do not know if it is a pretext for declaring an emergency to postpone the election or just about swaying public opinion, while talk of a false flag operation is a legitimate fear." A sitting cabinet official conceded in public that the concern has merit while denying any intent to act on it. Electoral analyst Robert Laszlo told Hungarian outlet Népszava that signs point to the possibility the government could stage such an operation, identifying late March or early April as the likeliest window. Former Hungarian Foreign Minister Geza Jasenski said the idea that Ukraine, exhausted by 4 years of war, would open a new front against a NATO member is something only the most uninformed person could believe. Former United States Army intelligence officer John Sweet and national security analyst Mark Toth wrote in The Hill that Orbán is now attempting to campaign against Zelensky instead of Magyar and warned Hungarian voters to be wary. Orbán's government has maintained that the deployment is a security measure and that Ukraine bears responsibility for the disruption. That position has not changed. On the energy side, the European Union's Oil Coordination Group confirmed on February 25th that there is no immediate risk to Hungarian or Slovak energy security. Both countries are drawing on strategic reserves. The Adria pipeline through Croatia is actively delivering non-Russian crude. Hungary's oil company, MOL, has said it can meet 80% of its supply needs from non-Russian sources. What is at stake financially is a specific arrangement. Hungary buys discounted Russian crude, refines it, sells the products at European market prices, and keeps the margin. Reporting by Euromaidan Press puts the monthly revenue flowing to Moscow from this setup at roughly 130 million euros. Online, people are reading this in two very different ways. Some see domestic theater, a leader with no intention of actual military action, manufacturing a crisis atmosphere to drive voters toward stability. Others see something more alarming, a government with control over most of Hungary's media, laying groundwork to delay or delegitimize an election it is on track to lose. Inside Hungary, the divide often runs along generational lines. Younger citizens are pushing back on the official narrative through independent outlets and social media. Older voters relying on state television are hearing a version of events that makes no mention of the Russian drone strike at all. And the campaign materials reinforce that split. Billboards across Hungary show AI-generated images of Zelensky with his hand outstretched, as if demanding money. Others depict Magyar as Zelensky's puppet. A Fidesz-linked organization published an AI-generated video of a blindfolded Hungarian soldier being executed on a muddy battlefield, captioned, "For now, this is only a nightmare, but Brussels is preparing to make it reality." When pressed on the video, Gulyas did not deny it was fabricated. He said, "Such is the reality of war." This approach has worked before. In 2022, Fidesz won a larger-than-expected supermajority by running on fears the opposition would pull Hungary into the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The structural advantages remain. Since Magyar's rise, Fidesz has amended electoral law twice, removing the campaign spending ceiling and redrawing more than a third of districts. Carnegie Endowment analysis suggests TISA may need around 55% of the popular vote just for a simple parliamentary majority, while Fidesz could secure a supermajority with as little as 45%. Magyar holds a European Parliament seat, which grants him immunity from prosecution inside Hungary. At his rally, he said if Orbán has genuine intelligence about a threat, he should contact NATO allies rather than post videos to social media. Right now, the troop deployment is active. The 3-month defense decree is in force. In Veszprém, Magyar tells crowds to watch for a false flag. On state television, the pipeline crisis is framed as Ukraine's doing. Across the country, two very different versions of reality are competing for the same voters. The vote is April 12th. The troops will still be deployed when it happens.